Okay, we're live. Hello and welcome to the Enlightenment Exchange. We're going to do something really fun today. John and I have been talking because we have so many decks that are the same. And I'm always interested in the energy of these things and the energy of the decks. And that's what I like to study is the energy. So we want to see if we ask the same questions of the same decks, how they work together. You know, I mean, wouldn't it be cool if we actually, so just to preface, we have not, except to say which decks we're using, we have not looked at the cards. We've only done our shuffling. And so we have not set it up. Hi, Coventina. We have not set it up so we'll be pulling the same cards. So if we do pull the same cards, it will be a complete divine intervention, not that C word. Anyway, so that's that. A couple of little pieces of business if you're here listening at this point. We need 8 more subscribers to get to 100. So please share the show. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button. John will tell you that somebody's going to come to your house or something, but that's not really true.
No, we have our eye on 8 of you, and we know who you are.
Oh, see, I told you he was going to come up with something. Anyway,
hey,
so
we've got
yes,
divination on our side,
right? So please, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, and you know, if you know anybody that you think would enjoy the show, please share it with them and ask them to hit the subscribe button too, so we can hit. We would like to hit 100 before the end of the year. That would be amazing. We love this show, and so we like to share.
Of course, we do. So you should love it too.
There you go. Anyway, so before we start with the cards, yeah, so I do these wicked crazy readings with like multiple decks and multiple cards, but I set the intention ahead of time that it's a progressive reading. So Coventina is saying she pulls cards from 6 different decks, and the majority of the time they're the same message.
Yep.
So
we're expecting the same.
I find that if you pull the same card from one deck multiple times, it's because you're not listening to the message, right?
Right. It's like the same person buying multiple readings from you. Like, well, same as before.
Yep. Right. Exactly. If you haven't done your homework. So anyway, so real quick before we start with the cards, I wanted to just talk a little bit about how exciting it was to actually meet and sit in a class with Dr. Eric Pearl of the Reconnection. It turns out that he now lives local to me, and that's how he wound up in this particular shop.
Wow.
Is they were checking out downtown, and he just said, oh, this looks like a cool shop, let me go in here. And so I believe that I will have more opportunities to take classes from him, and perhaps he's even going to do, I think he said the next time he comes he'll do demonstration of the reconnection work, which I'm very interested in doing it, you know, under his guidance. But based on what he said, everybody's got access to it. It's not something you need to be attuned to. So there's just a couple of things that I want to say, and then we'll move on to the cards. But I found it very interesting that because he was talking about the bigger modalities, the other energy modalities. I won't name any, you know, I won't name any type by name, but, you know, Reiki and Qigong. And so, for example, when you talk about Reiki and the hand positions and the brushing off your energy and putting it in salt water and all that, he said, I don't understand that. He said, to me, that's working from fear and not love. And I was like practically falling out of my chair, because that's exactly
that is your
way. That is my thing. That's the way I feel about it. So I'm just going to tell this little anecdote, and then we'll move. I actually, because I had loaned out my copy of his book, so I was actually able to get another one and get it signed. But it was interesting because when I got the opportunity to speak with him at the end, I said, you know, so many things that you said so resonate with me. I just believe everybody kind of leans toward that fear consciousness and, you know, so on and so forth. And then I said, you know, when I've told you this before, now I've really told you that I don't do anxiety, right? Like I don't do anxiety. You've heard me say that.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also heard me say that there have been times where I was anxious. And what I've discovered is that when I am anxious or have an attitude problem, that if I channel the energy of joy straight to my heart, because I said, I've discovered you can channel any energy, emotion that you want. You don't need to be attuned to it. You don't need a symbol, which is not to say energy with symbols is, not powerful. I'm just saying anybody can do this. So I take the energy of joy and I visualize it, running down through my crown and out my hand and into my heart, and all of that eases. And he said, yes. He said, because anxiety cannot exist within joy. And I was like,
yeah.
So, validation from somebody who has really been studying energy and working with energy for a long time and who was spontaneously brought into this healing modality. So I just thought that was really cool.
Very cool.
And I'm really excited that he's, around, and that I'm very likely going to be able to, learn more from him and interact with him. And he's got a couple
on the show.
I thought about that, and it is possible, but
it is possible.
Everything's possible. Everything is possible, but he's a very well-known author, and this is a very small show. So we'll see. That's all that's all I can say. And other than that, we have a couple of really exciting things coming up. So I'll just touch on that. We're going to have Kyle Cranston on November 20th. So I'm excited about that. We don't know exactly what we're going to talk about yet, but she does quite a few events, like expos. So I think I want to have her talk about that with us a little bit. And we have our Halloween show coming up. We're going to talk about superstitions. So if you have a superstition that's a particular favorite or one that really haunts you, drop it in the comments so we can, do our research, because we're going to do some research on superstitions and their origins so that we can kind of take them apart and, maybe take some of their, maybe take some of the wind out of their sails. Right. So there's that. And then I guess that's it. We next week is the Halloween show, the superstition show. You know what? This year has gone so fast, and the dates, I'm having trouble keeping up with the dates, right. Like, oh my gosh, like Halloween is next week already. That's just crazy. Right. So anyway,
2 weeks ago was 4th of July, and a week before that was New Year's.
I know, right? Like it just had. I've heard from multiple people. In fact, Radley Valentine was one of them. That I don't remember if it was a post in one of his groups or if it was actually online, where he said, "Doesn't it seem like time is going really fast all of a sudden?" And it really does.
Getting older. Because when you're getting older, that happens. Or is it all of us collectively experiencing that, regardless of our age?
I think it may very well be some of both.
Some of both. Right? Okay. By the way, Lewis Black, the comedian, has a hilarious spiel on that particular fact. So go look it up sometime.
He is hilarious anyway. So anyhow, okay. So now, without further ado, let's move on to our questions. I really am excited to see how this goes.
Yep.
So the very first deck we're going to use, John and I are both in the Hay House subscription. So that's why, and we both are probably a little nuts when it comes to decks. But we have very many that are similar. So, this might be fun to do. There's another new one coming out pretty soon. This might be fun to do whenever we get the new decks.
Okay, yeah, let's do that, like an unveiling, right? Almost.
I think that'll be fun. Anyway, so the first one we're going to use is Wisdom of the Oracle, and this is the pocket version.
Yep.
Which I kind of dig because it's the size of a regular deck. It's
right.
Not so hard for me to shuffle. This is by Colette Baron Reid, and as I said, it's a Hay House subscription, so published by Hay House. So our first question, and that's what we're going to ask of this deck, is, and okay, so let me go back 1 second. We have set the intention that the answers to these questions are global, and for everybody that's listening or anybody that may listen at whatever point in time they do listen, and that we want to have a positive impact on the world and all of our listeners. So that's how we're going at this. We didn't ask it specifically for either one of us, but for all of us as a collective. So the first question is, what will help me stay on track? And what is my next best step? So I guess I have to shuffle again. I had them ready, but now we made an adjustment to that question. So all right. We're going to do one card and then have a spare. So I don't know why. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So the first card, of course, this is a little deck. It has little words.
That is true.
The first card I pulled is Serendipity.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Serendipity. That's a really nice card.
Yep.
Serendipity. I mean, serendipity means a lot of things to a lot of people, I think, but
right.
Let's see what it means to this one. This one is little. It's hard to find the numbers and everything. I just got this deck, so I really am a lot using this book to sort of spark my intuition. Essential meaning: opportunity allied with readiness, the awareness of synchronicity, luck and good fortune appearing as signs and symbols, a magical alignment of events. So I'd like to hear what your card is, and then let's see where we go from the two.
So the card I pulled is called the Fates, Fates. And when I look at that one up, it says karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. It's about kind of the you can't change some things, but there are things that you can change. But essentially, it's the idea of karma and of oh, you know what? This is interesting. Fates and serendipity were one card apart. The Fates card is number 17 in this deck, and serendipity is card number 18.
Oh gosh, isn't that something?
They are right next to each other.
Well, that's amazing, because we're in two different states.
Yes,
we're not in we're in two different states,
near
and
each
it's
other.
Definitely
and the vibe. And I'm pretty sure that Colette tends to put similar ideas together in her stuff. She categorizes things.
I think she does. So for me, as we ask this question, what will help me stay on track? What is my next best step? You already know what your next best step is.
Yes,
right?
Use your intuition.
Use your intuition, but also pay attention, because this is talking about signs and symbols, and I think that sometimes we get so overly we get so overly focused on like 444 or 333 or whatever, that we miss the billboard that went by that says turn right. You know what I mean? So this is about not hyper focused attention, but
bigger picture
attention, and pay attention to the sync. Pay attention to synchronicities. Pay attention to synchronicities. That's the whole thing, like the things that come up for you that are synchronicities, the things that come up more than once, the things that come up at a serendipitous time, those are the things that will help you stay on track. And will help you lead to the next step.
There's another element to this too, and that is our question is, what will help me stay on track? What's my next step? There's an element of don't worry about it. It'll become clear to you when the time is right. And that's kind of a little bit what karma is about. It's karma, as we've discussed it in the past, has been kind of the worn path through time. And so you're going to be following a worn path. You're going to be following a path that others have followed So just let it take its course. You're gonna know what to do.
Right. So what it's really interesting that you're saying that, because I had I was guided to take the next card, which is number 44. It is the thinker, and the message is this, and it's simple. The ability to reason and strategize is the focus right now. Take things at face value and follow the logical path. So that's exactly what you just said. Follow the logical path, right?
Yep.
So valid. I mean, the tech is validating itself for itself, like right, validating itself for us as we go. So I love that idea, because I think that a lot of people are out there looking at the brass rings and the shiny baubles and everything, and I think it's really important for everybody to realize that they have all the power within themselves.
Indeed.
That they, and that is the focus of my work, really, is teaching people that, get out of the realm of the student. Get out of the realm of the student. So anyway, okay, now moving on to the next one. This one is by Kyle Gray.
Yep.
And I cannot do that accent. So you know how when Bradley Valentine says his name, he always
Kyle Gray.
Scottish. Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I spend enough time in if I spend enough time in Scotland, maybe I'll pick it up.
All right.
Anyway, the 22 Archangels Oracle by Kyle Gray, published by Hay House. This is a relatively new deck. In fact, I had it ordered, like pre-ordered, and then I got it in the I got it in the box. Yeah, I got it in the subscription. So I'm guessing that's going to be the same thing with the Angel Affirmations card, right? In the next box.
Yeah.
Bradley's new deck is probably going to be in there. Anyway, so the question that we have for 22 is, what unseen influence is affecting my journey? And I think that that's really important and a really good question right now, because I think there are a lot of unseen influences in the world, and affecting a lot of people. And I think that people are perhaps not understanding. So I believe that because this is archangels, that the listeners who have relationships with the archangels themselves may draw information just simply from the archangel that is on the card, in addition to whatever we come up. This is a really thin deck.
Yeah, it is. It's only 22 cards.
It's just 22.
Yep.
Well, I think that should have been about half price.
All right. Maybe we can go get half your money back.
Yeah, right. Okay, it's over here. Is it this one? It is this one. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, you go first this time.
All right. So I pulled the card of Chamuel, and that's relationships or relationship assignments. No one crosses your path by chance. Choose to see the deeper reasons for the people in your life. So our question was, what unseen influences are affecting your journey? It's your relationships. It's the people in your life, whether good or bad. If you have people that uplift you, that's going to affect your journey in a very positive way. If you're dealing with lots of negativity around you, that's going to affect your journey in that way. Choose intentionally the people who are in your circles.
There you go. So it's interesting, because I always think of Chamuel and Raguel. I love when those lights go by. It looks like something funky's going on by my house, but it's just traffic. Well, not really traffic, because I live on a side street, but whatever. But I always think of Chamuel and Raguel, which is who I pulled.
Okay.
Raguel, as going together. So Chamuel, the one that sees, right?
Yep.
That sees and knows. And then Raguel, waves of healing. Be open and vulnerable, as this will initiate healing and harmonious resolution. So to me, what unseen influence is affecting my journey? I think at this point, healing is right in front of you and you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And this again speaks to my message so clearly and cleanly. Everybody, not everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but so many people want to make these healing journeys so difficult. And the truth is, it doesn't need to be difficult. It it could be right in front of you. So if you, this is the part though, be open and vulnerable, right? So many of us are locked up so tight and closed up so tight because we don't want whatever happened to us before to happen to us again, that we forget that we actually have the power to be open and vulnerable without being at risk.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And who are you open and vulnerable with? But it's with your relationships. So this is the who and yours is the what.
Exactly. Shall we get the why? Is there a why?
All right.
All
While you're
right.
doing that, let me just notice that this is the cover of the book and the box, and this is the card I pulled. So
Well, there you go. Oh,
That's
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
And here. Oh, a jumper. Okay. Is it this one? It's this one. Yes. Is it? Yeah, okay. And is this an archangel? Hope? Or is
So
that just
he has
hope?
some archangels and some are more emotions or I forget what he calls them.
Anyway, this is a brilliant why. Hope. Authentic reclamation. It's time to call back all the lost parts of yourself.
That's
Be
good.
open and vulnerable. Call back the lost parts of yourself. Be open and vulnerable in your relationships. Don't shut the doors. And healing. And of course, I lost the other one because I put it back in. But healing is at hand. So I think that's really. Are they in Alpha? Raguel. Yeah. Raguel. Be open and vulnerable, as this will initiate healing and harmonious resolution. Where do you need harmonious resolution? But within your relationships, right? So these cards are really speaking to each other. I love that. I love that. And hope. Do you see hope? I see hope, but I think a lot of people are not seeing hope right now.
I know.
So I think that may also be an unseen influence.
Yeah. Let me read something real quick from this one, this Chamuel. It says, know that every relationship is an assignment. It's important to say that the universe doesn't intentionally put toxic or abusive people into your life because the universe is a presence of love, but it will give you opportunities for learning and life experience. And it's the challenges you face in relationships that bring the real life lessons. And then further on, he says, acknowledge this. Acknowledging this will bring you great healing. So there it is. We're connected to healing there.
This is the message from hope. In times gone by, this is really powerful stuff right here. In times gone by, you've had your innocence infiltrated. And when you've been hurt, betrayed, silenced, and let down, you've left behind fragments of your soul. In order to fit into the boxes and needs of the world, you've also left behind your gifts, your talents, and even your softness. You've had to dull your sparkle, but you're not here to conform to anyone else's standards. You're here to be wholly and fully yourself. That message is so appropriate for all of us.
Yeah,
I mean, it speaks to me. That is me.
Too.
So it's time to go back and reclaim those things. This is that's a really powerful message.
Yeah.
So to recap, pay attention, right? What will help you stay on track? Pay attention, watch for synchronicities, watch for serendipity. And then what is the unseen influence? It is healing, really.
Yeah.
Healing and hope. Healing your relationships, which includes your relationship with yourself. This is really interesting how this is mapping out.
Yeah.
So now, we're doing good. We're in good shape for time.
Yep.
Okay, this is an author that I've not heard of, Maud Hurst.
Right.
And
I like the concept of this particular deck.
I do too. And it is called Intuitive Whispers Oracle. This also is published by Hay House. And
This one is kind of an affirmations or deck.
yeah, and so this, I think this is the appropriate question for this particular deck. What can I do for myself so I can be the greatest contribution to the light in the world? So I would say that the majority of the people that listen to us, most of the people that we know, are some form of light worker. And my philosophy is simple, that you simply walk in the light to spread it, right? You simply need to walk in the light to spread it. But if you want to make a business of it, or if you want to make a larger or more global impact, just walking in the light is the way to live your life. But what can you do for yourself so you can be the greatest contribution is going to require a little bit more. So that's what we're looking for here from this deck. These cards are so pretty.
Yep.
The back, look at the back of this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just so pretty. So are these witchy nails, by the way. Just makes it a little difficult to shuffle, but what are you going to do?
All in the name of fashion. There
you go. I just want to look cool at Witch's Day Out. So I'll be in Northern Illinois at Witch's Day Out doing readings on Sunday the 27th. I didn't realize you
were doing readings there. That's great.
Yeah, I'm doing readings and a talk.
Fabulous.
Yeah. It's fun. I like doing readings like that. But it costs you more if you come to me without a question. I'm just telling you right now.
Right. I want a general reading. Okay, that'll be $90.
Yeah. You want a general reading that's 30 minutes. If you have a question, I can do that in 15. I mean, you can't do a general reading in 15 minutes. At least I can't. Anyway, okay. Am I done shuffling? But you want me to take one off the bottom. Interesting. And the one off the top. All right. So the one off the bottom, that's the first one. Oh, interesting. What? I love that the first thing that I get when I say, what can I do for myself so I can be the greatest contribution to the light in the world? The first word I'm going to say is gratitude. And that is amazing, right? Walking in gratitude. Gratitude, this is gratitude for the past. And I think that a lot of people struggle with gratitude for the past, because I think a lot of people have trauma and difficulty and have a hard time offering gratitude for those things that were difficult and that were traumatic. And, you have to shift your focus a little bit, I think, when it comes to that. Gratitude for trauma is not gratitude that you suffered the trauma, but gratitude for who you became when you came out of it, gratitude for getting through it in one piece, that kind of thing. Gratitude. I mean, everything that you've done and everything that you've been and everything that's happened in your life has brought you to exactly where you are. And where you are is perfect, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to believe that.
It is hard to believe that. It is very hard to believe
until you're through it.
Until you're on the other side of it, right? So I love that the first card, gratitude, and I like this owl. I just like to have an owl hanging around because, owl to me is wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So gratitude for the past, and then you've got the owl telling you that past, no matter what, brought you wisdom. And that's what you can be grateful for. If you can't be grateful for anything else about it, you can be grateful for the wisdom that it brought you.
Indeed.
So which one do you have?
So I got the card that's entitled, Let This Be Your Sign, which is kind of like what she said.
Yeah, right?
So the writing in this one is, have you been waiting for a sign, something that will give you volition to make a change? Well, this is it right here and right now. This is your sign. What have you been waiting to achieve, change, or create? It's no coincidence you've pulled this card. So this is almost like, to answer the question, what can I do for myself so I can be the greatest contribution to the light in the world? Do something to be the greatest contribution to the light in the world. This is your sign to go forward and do it. So don't just think about this question, actually do it.
So it's really amazing when I read the, the description. It's basically what I said. So I love when that happens. But what I like here is that there's a little bit of an exercise, and it's get comfortable in a seated position and place your left hand over your heart and your right hand on your belly. I'm not really attached to the hand thing, like right hand, left hand.
Okay. But I'll do it. I'm doing it right now.
Okay. Close your eyes and deepen your breath, feeling the rise and fall of your breath under your hands. Take your awareness into your past and notice what comes to the surface without judging it as good or bad. Instead of getting stuck in the memories of your past, see them as if you are an observer looking in at them.
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself, what do I feel truly grateful for from the past? Feel your heart expanding with gratitude. Then say out loud, I am grateful for the lessons of the past, and I release the emotions.
I am grateful for the lessons of the past and release the emotions.
And what's interesting about this is that it reminded me of something that I, have been known to teach that sort of forgot, is it's always better to heal as an observer instead of a participant.
That's really good.
So,
I hadn't heard you say it that way before. That's great.
Yeah, heal as an observer rather than a participant because of this exactly. It takes the emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you take the emotion out of it, the gratitude is more available to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the other card that I was guided to pull. This one is kind of interesting. It's number 15. Stop pushing and striving. And there's a little couple here with their backs to us, kind of walking into the light, which to me is, what we're talking about. Now, I think this gives because we'll have a little bit of time before we have to go. This is an interesting piece of conversation for card readers because, there's a lot of card readers out there that say, don't use the book, put down the book. And I'm here to I'm here to tell you that, a lot of times I don't use the book, but not when I'm first using a deck. These are all from the last one, aren't they? All three of these decks are from the last batch.
Yep.
I just took the plastic off of one of them a couple days ago, when we decided to do this. So anyway, stop pushing and striving. Number 15, you're trying too hard to make things happen, and it's time to slow down and enter into flow with life. So much energy is wasted when you feel the need to push to create. Creativity is activated from stillness. So take your foot off the pedal for a moment and stop to breathe. Oh, this card is for me, 100%.
I like that one. Boy, that's good. And
100%. There are two paths. Wait 1 second. There are two paths in life that coexist, and they both lead to the same destination. But one is pushed, and the other one is supported and pulled. Let's switch paths. Now that's really interesting, right? Yep. Wow, you go, ho, man. If
that's for me too.
One is climbing uphill and the other one is riding the escalator, right? One is climbing the stairs and one is riding the escalator.
Yeah.
I think that so I'm sorry, go ahead what you were going to say. I cut you off.
I know I had a situation this past week where I was like my only tool was like, I just got to push through this and make it work. And rather that, I mean, it was a very rough few days. And now I'm like, I wonder if I had switched paths at the beginning and just kind of let things support me, I would have come to the same place I am now.
It's interesting.
A better vibe.
Because this says how to stop pushing and striving. Take a break from what you're doing. It might be a day off work, an hour to pause, going for a walk, or even just closing your laptop and taking some deep breaths. But in this moment, prioritize space. So when you're in the pushing mode, you also can't see any other possibilities because you're caught in the busyness of it all. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting point because, so many of us do that, and there may be a simpler way to get something done, but we're so focused on whatever it is that we're pushing towards that we miss all. I say this all the time when I teach and when we talk. You're so hyper focused on this one thing in front of you that you miss all the little creative bubbles that are all floating around you, right?
Yeah, can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, just so on the inside of the cover of this deck, it says, "You are wiser and more brilliant than you know. Be still, take a breath and listen, and your intuitive whispers are guiding you."
That's really good. I like this deck.
Yeah, I like this deck a lot. So I think there's I think actually this is a nice stack to do one of my mega readings. I don't even have room on this table to do.
Almost feels like we should do an event like this.
Yeah, it would be very fun, I think. I think it would be a good idea. I was looking to see if there's we've got a little bit more time.
While you're doing that, I pulled another card from the same deck. So what can I do for myself so I can be the greatest contribution to the light of the world? And the answer I got was card number 22, which says your mind, your soul, your body, and your soul, which is another way to say all in, right? You're all in.
Isn't that something?
Whatever contributions you can give from your body, your mind, and your soul, that's the contributions you want to make. So
isn't that interesting?
Connecting the three.
Because sometimes, right. Have you ever worked with somebody where you just knew they were phoning it in?
You mean like in a job? Yes.
in anything. And have you ever, and I'm just going to put this out there, have you ever done something yourself where somewhere along through it you go, oh man, I'm really just phoning this in. I'm not really.
In other words, I'm just going through the motions. I am not invested in this.
Right.
And at the end of a career, or at the end of a particular position where you're like, I got to get out of here. I'm not committed. I'm just going through the motions. I need to leave and start somewhere else. Yes.
Yeah. And I just don't, right. Okay. So remember we talked about doing a roundtable about fear and about dissecting fear, taking it apart, looking at the different parts and pieces of it. And I think that if we do that and we can help people find and eliminate fear from where it's unnecessary, you need to be afraid of a shark. Okay. You just do. You need to be afraid of getting hit by a bus.
Yep.
Or you need to know you're never going to walk out in front of a bus, and then there's no reason to fear. But you know what I mean? So, so there is a functional purpose for fear. It is a part of the ego, and I believe the ego is an important part of being human.
But you don't need to be afraid of making a video.
Right. You don't need, well, frankly, you don't need to be afraid of ghosts. But whatever, whatever.
Agreed.
And so I think that it is time that we really need to get serious about putting together this roundtable so that we can talk about fear and identify the places where fear really keeps us hostage and keeps us from moving forward. So what is the unseen influence, right?
Yep.
What can I do for myself so I can be the greatest contribution? Find a way to operate from love rather than fear. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to circle back to the beginning when I talked about having that conversation with Dr. Eric Pearl and how anxiety can't exist in a state of joy. That is literally word for word what he said to me. Do you know that when I work with people, that is always a question I ask in a session, of a certain type. I would say 75% of the people have no idea what brings them joy. When I say, what brings you joy? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what joy is.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah, it really is. On that same note, I read an article about there's kind of a movement of angry males who are angry about their not having relationships, and it's I read this article. I'm like, these poor guys don't know how to bring joy to themselves, and they're acting outward. Their anger is directed outward rather than an introspection and a curiosity inward. What can I do to make myself feel joy or feel fulfilled? And
anger is never going to do it.
Right. Right. And it suddenly occurred to me that, like, how many other hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of people in little subgroups are having that same experience over and over. Boy, we got a lot of work to do, but we have an answer.
Right. I mean, think about, we have a few more minutes. So think about the groups that we're in. We're in common groups. I'm in some that you're not in, and you're in some that I'm not in. And then we have some that are in common.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about the people you encounter in these groups, they are scared to death of technology. They're scared to death of a website. They're scared of building a website. I don't know. I have no idea why. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand this huge mechanism of fear. I just don't have it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Which is not to say I don't really berate people for having it, because there's a lot of reasons that they do have it. It's generational, it's environmental, from when I told you that I know somebody whose mother, every time it rained, would, rush them across the street in the basement.
Right.
But the house across the street in the basement. They would leave the dog by herself, and so the dog was deathly afraid of thunderstorms because they would leave the dog alone, right? And so to this day, Angie's the one standing on the balcony on the backside of a hotel in Virginia Beach with the wind going by so hard that it sucked the breath right out of me. I thought, probably time to go in now. and this person is quaking in their boots when they hear a crack of thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so fear is, I don't think fear is a natural state. I think fear is foisted on us.
Sure. We learn it and we embody it, and we don't.
Right.
We have to get rid of it.
And I think that not everybody is. For me, it's like that woman that told me I was a sponge for negative energy, and I was like, screw that. I don't want that. I don't want to be that. So let me, But a lot of people would have taken that to heart and said, oh well, that's just the way I am.
Right.
And possibly even worn it as a badge of honor.
Right. Like self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. So I think it's really important that we pick from a bunch of different, different types of people, certainly not everybody that thinks the way I do. Good luck finding somebody that does anyway all the time. But no, that's not really true, because you and I agree more than we don't.
Yep, that is true.
You and I agree more than we don't. So I think this could be a really important thing before the end of the year, to really come up with some ideas of what is fear composed of. How can we, move out of fear?
Mm-hmm.
Why are some people so attached to it? I mean, there are people that like to be scared. I don't. Like, I'm not but
you're right.
I'm not a horror thing, and or haunted houses or what have you. You know what I mean? So I think that we've got a good possibility here to really have an impact in a way. Yeah. That's really good. So we will put that together. Oh, this is interesting. We will put that together and, pay attention for that, because John and I are going to really do our best to try and
set that up,
and also to, take the show in a little bit of a new direction. That's just a little bit more interesting and a little bit more fun and a little bit. But as we were talking, I pulled one more card from this,
Oh,
the
good.
Wisdom of the Oracle. Just a final card, and I just love what it is. Community.
Community. Yes.
Community.
Yep.
I mean, it just couldn't get any better than that.
Nope.
No, could it?
I think, and funny you pulled that card because that word kept popping in my mind over the last 5 or 10 minutes.
See,
So
there you go.
Yep.
There you go. So that's yeah, right. Like that's an exercise in the clairs.
Yes, indeed.
Right? That's an exercise in the clairs. So anyway, well, that was fun. I think that
really cool.
now that we've done it once, maybe we can streamline it a little bit, or talk about it a little bit so it can go a little bit smoother. But I think all in all, we've given people some pretty good information.
Yeah,
you have everything you need. You have everything you need to be successful. You have everything you need to do this work. Embrace your past. Find gratitude for your past. Find yourself some joy.
And be in community.
And be in community, and pay attention to the synchronicities and the serendipity in the world. And then, like I said in the beginning, oh, thank you, Coventina. Thank you so much. She is like our best listener ever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, since we're here all the way at the end, just let me say one more time, if you like us, subscribe. Share us.
And that's not even an if. You do like us. And
you do like us because you've been here this long, right? So also my Facebook page, Angie ZXUH, the ZXUH method, has a couple of events. I'm doing a train meditation in November, and I have a mediumship group, a medium doing mediumship readings on November 7th. Cool. On a Thursday evening. That one's really limited space. So if you think you want to sign up for that, come on over. The train meditation, anybody can come. So anyhow, so that's that for today. And then I'm off to a fairy class with Radley Valentine. So we have that to the end of the month. And then next week, don't forget, if you have a superstition that that is hard and fast, post it in the comments, and we'll look into the origins, because I'm excited for this next conversation. Yep. It's going to be fun.
On that note, my favorite comedian, Stephen Wright, says, broke a mirror, supposed to get 7 years bad luck, but my lawyer thinks he can get me 5.
Oh, well, I'm not going to save it because I'll probably forget it, but it was I was watching. All of a sudden I'm into those reno shows, renovation shows.
Yep.
And I was watching somebody doing a home from the 70s, and in the 70s they put mirrors on everything.
Oh yeah.
The walls to the floor to the ceiling, the wall, all of it. And I watched him with the sledgehammer, busting up those mirrors, and I was like, I love that construction guys just go in and do their work. Like there's no fear. They got no time for those superstitions. We got to get this out of here. Like, moving on. So anyway, so join us next week for that show, because that is going to be a lot of fun. Superstitions and their origins. And we will see you for Halloween, because that's, next week. And have a wonderful week, you guys. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.